Hello everybody, my name is Lee Barbie. I'm a fly tyer and a fly fisherman. I've been doing this for about 4 years. So I've recently had some feedback from people and they've wanted me to do a instructional video. I've been working with one individual on the Frenchie and the red tag soft tackle. So I'm going to be showing the Frenchie. For the demonstration, you want to gather your materials. I'm using a standard nymph hook. It's actually a nymph long hook, Partridge H1A, size 14. And then I'm using a Plummeting tungsten bead and 7/64 to match the size of the hook. So what I'm doing is I'm just getting the bead on the hook. And when putting the bead on the hook, you always want to put a smaller hole on first. And then we just get it nice and set in there. Now with the Frenchie, it's supposed to be a heavy nymph, and you can add some extra weight to it if you like. If you do, you can add some lead-free wire or some lead wire. I would probably use 0.015 for the size, but I'm not going to do that because the tungsten bead is heavy enough. But I have here some Semperfli Nano silk in red, and this is 12/0, and I'm just going to start my thread right behind the bead. I'm going to right where the barb is. If any of you know me, I don't fish barbless. I don't fish with a barb on the hook. I always mash it before I go out on the water. I do a lot of catch and release, and I don't ever really keep the fish. But to each their own, right? So now I have this thread right where I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with some Whiting Farms Coke de Leon, and I just plucked one feather from the cape or the saddle, and I'm getting about 4 fibers here, and I just pulled them straight off. So now what we want to do is we want to switch our hands, and we want to measure. So with this fly, you don't want a very long tail. I'd say at least the hook gape, which is from the hook shank to the hook point right there. So now I have it just right. I'm taking my thread, I'm getting a loose wrap, I'm pulling down, get a couple of good wraps in. And with this, you always want to check and be sure it's right on top of the hook. If it's not right on top of the hook, adjust it. And that's a pretty easy adjustment. What I like to do whenever I'm tying is I will use materials to build up a body. That way I'm not sitting there wasting a ton of my thread, and I can still get the desired taper that I want. Now I'm coming in with my ribbing that we'll use. And this is just some gold ribbing in brassie size. This matches the size of the hook that I'm demonstrating on. So I put it on the opposite side of me. And I wrap down. just right where my thread ends, right where the tail starts. And what I can do, I just give that extra nice little cinch down there. Now I'm going to take some pheasant tail. This is Semperfli Picric dyed pheasant tail. And all I'm doing is grabbing about 4 to 6 fibers here. And I'm gonna clip it off. You can sit there and pull it off if you like. Just be sure whenever you pull it off, you wanna be sure that you pull it down first. So whenever you're doing this, I'm gonna have it straight out like so. And then you just pull straight off. And then sometimes you get that extra quill coming off with it. And if you do that, you can just snip it. So now I have the tips of the pheasant tail. And I'm going to tie it in tip first. And this also helps with the taper of the body. And I'm just going to wind that all the way up. Now I'm going to come back down. So now I have the main materials of this fly tied in. So now I'm just going to be sure that I get the taper desired. And I do that by coming up here, winding down a portion of the shank. Then I go back up. And then I come back down, and then I go down a little further on the shank, about 2/3. And I come back up. Now I'm going to go all the way down. Be sure that your thread wraps are nice and close. And there we are. Then we just go back up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop right where I want my body to stop. Now wrapping this, you can use hackle pliers. I have a few selections here. I usually use either Dr. Slick or the ones that I got from Daddy Fly Shop. These are pretty nice too. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab it by the tip on the hackle pliers. And then I'm going to start winding this around the hook shank. And what I'm doing, I'm slowly and carefully wrapping these because I want my fly to look nice. I don't want any thread showing through. And I'm going to wrap it all the way up to my thread, or to my bobbin. So once we get up here to where our bobbin is and our thread, we're going to put a few wraps over it to secure it down. And then we're going to put a few wraps in front of it. Now I can come in with my scissors and I can snip this off. Here's the part where we take the wire, we're going to counter rivet. And counter wrapping is what helps make the material and the fly more durable. And you just want nice, even spaced wraps. And I stop there, and then I secure this down with a few wraps over it. And then I put a few wraps in front of it. And then I take my bobbin and I wind the thread up to where it's right there, pressed against the hook or the bead, and I helicopter it. And it comes right off. Now to get to the portion where we need to add our dubbing. There's a lot of different colors and styles of dubbing that you can use. Ice dubbing is really nice. I like something with a little flash in it. So I'm going to use Whitlock's dubbing blend from SLF, and I'm going to use the minnow gills right here. This is a dispenser of it, and some of them can be a little pricey, but in the end it's all worth it because you're doing what you like to do. And it's tie flies and fish. So now I'm going to start wrapping this thread around with the dubbing. And if you get some straggly pieces coming off, it's really easy to fix. You just come in and clip them off. Or you can get some tweezers and pluck them. There's several ways of removing unwanted fibers. So now we have that nice little collar there. I'm going to wrap my thread a little more. And what I like to do is I like to take a little bit of UV resin. This is Solarez Bone Dry. And whenever you see my post and I put in the recipe that I put it on the whip finish, I'm sitting there and I'm putting a few small drops on the thread. And I'm wrapping it so those drops get right in. And then I come in with a whip finishing tool and I whip finish. I usually do 4 to 5 turns. And then I can come in and snip my thread off. With Nano silk, you don't exactly snip it, just kind of rake the blade along the edge. Then I can hit it with my UV light. And those few drops are nice and cured. And now we have a finished fly. So that was the Frenchie. I believe this is Lance Egan's pattern. It's a very effective fly. And I've used it quite a bit, and I've caught plenty of trout on it. So I would definitely recommend using it and giving it a whirl. I mean, it's a super simple fly. I would consider it a guide fly, and it can be tied up in a matter of just a few minutes. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching. Have a great day and good luck. Tight lines.